Sweet. Welcome back to the linguistic talks. Today's talk is on discourse analysis. Today I will supply you with information regarding the concept of discourse analysis, the components of discourse analysis, cohesion, coherence, conversation analysis, term taking, adjacency pairs, cooperative principles, hedges, implicatures, background information, schema, and scripts. The components or the main ideas are presented here. First, I provide you with a question: what is discourse? Discourse is any language beyond word and sentence, or bigger than word or sentence is referred to as discourse. So what is discourse analysis? As the name suggests, discourse analysis is the analysis of discourse. So analysis of the texts or conversations that are beyond words and phrases and sentences is referred to as discourse analysis. Now, as you see here, I'm posing some questions like, what is proper discourse? What are felicity conditions? In fact, all these components, all these concepts encapsulate the concept of felicity conditions or proper discourse. So felicity conditions are the essential conditions or elements of a successful communication or a proper discourse, appropriate discourse. And these conditions and these concepts must not be violated so that we have proper communication or proper discourse, in a way that there is no misconception, no misunderstanding, and no misjudgments. Now, I provide you with answers to the question, what are felicity conditions? Felicity conditions include cohesion and coherence, Grice's maxims, cooperative or cooperative principles. What are cooperative principles or Grice's maxims? They include quantity, the maxim of quantity, the maxim of quality, the maxim of relation, and the maxim of manner. I will elaborate on them later. Then there are some other conditions which are absolutely indispensable for production of and perception of proper discourse. So term taking, adjacency pairs, as you see them here, hedges, implicatures, schema, script, background information are also the building blocks of proper communication or proper discourse. As you know, a discourse, by definition, is language beyond sentence, language beyond words. So a discourse is necessarily bigger than a sentence. So there are two kinds of discourse. One is spoken discourse, the other one is written discourse, or spoken communication and written communication. And as you know, also there are differences among the categorizations of the components of written and spoken discourse. I'm not focusing on that today. I postpone it to the following discussions. However, today's discussion focuses on the components or the conditions of proper, appropriate, meaningful, successful discourse or successful communication. I provide you with the components and the conditions, and I supply you with the definitions and some examples. So, one of the conditions of proper communication or felicity conditions. So, another question that could be posed now is, what do we mean by felicity conditions? Felicity conditions are conditions of appropriate discourse, and it encapsulates all these elements. All right? So when a discourse is felicitous, by definition, it includes all these conditions and regulations. And the ideas and the information are successfully, meaningfully shared between the interlocutors. Interlocutors are speakers and listeners. Getting back to this part, cohesion and coherence. Cohesion and coherence are two conditions necessary for proper discourse, appropriate discourse. What is cohesion? Cohesion is textual, is inside the text. Cohesion refers to the continuity and connectedness of a text, and it refers to the chains of the words that are used to stick a discourse together, or a paragraph or an essay together. Words like first, second, third, first, second, late, afterwards, words like hence, furthermore, in addition, moreover, these are linking words which create cohesion in a text. So cohesion is an indispensable part of the process of proper discourse. What is coherence? Coherence is the logical relation among the elements of a discourse outside the text, and it is a logical relationship created in the minds of the speakers and the listeners. I provided with an example. The typical example, the classic example that I always talk about is A, is Alex coming to the party? B answers, Mary is there. This dialogue lacks cohesion. Apparently there is no cohesion, but there is a coherence. And we understand that Alex is not going to the party because Mary is there, and the relationship between Alex and Mary is not friendly. So cohesion, by definition, is logical connection between elements of a discourse outside of the text, and it is created in the minds of the speakers and the listeners. The next question is, what are Grice's maxims or cooperative principles? Grice was a very important inspirational linguist and philosopher who stipulated the idea of the components of proper discourse or cooperative principles. Cooperative principles refers to the elements that are essential while people are communicating with one another. In other words, when people are talking together, they must observe and follow some rules and some regulations or some maxims. These maxims are rules or regulations of proper discourse. And why is it called cooperative principle? Due to the fact that during the conversation we have to follow some principles, and we have to cooperate and harmonize with one another or to create proper meaningful communication. So cooperative principles are the principles adopted by the speakers and listeners to cooperate with each other, to understand the meaning, to understand the intended meaning, and to communicate properly, and to act accordingly. The first one is quantity. During the speech, during the conversation, when we are conversing with somebody, we have to observe the maxim or the rule of quantity. Don't say too much, don't say too little. Only necessary information. For instance, I'm asking you, where's the library? Where is STU library? So, you only supply me with the necessary information. For example, you say you go straight, turn right on the first floor, and that's you can't miss it. This is basically the necessary information. You should not talk about the fact that, hey, by the way, it is in Castellan, and by the way, there are beautiful scenes in Castellan, and by the way, I have two brothers and sisters. These are irrelevant information. We should not talk about your family or anything irrelevant. Give only the necessary information. And don't give scanty information. Some people do not like to provide enough information. They just say, I asked somebody, for instance, some student, a student, where's the library? And the student just looks at them and say, okay, go straight, bye. This is not enough information. You have to be clear and you have to provide enough information. Not less, not more information than necessary. So this is what we mean by quantity. Provide only necessary information. Not more and not less information. Then the other one is quality. Quality is just be honest and truthful. Don't give wrong information. So what is the maximum quality in your conversation with your discourse? Conversation is a discourse. So in a conversation or a discourse, be truthful. Be honest. For example, I ask you, where is the library? And you say, I don't know. I don't know where the library is. What does it have to do with me? I'm not studying here. Why are you picking me? Are you a stranger? Why? This is lying. You are a student and you know where the library is. But you are telling untrue statements. You are not being honest. You are being dishonest and you are being untruthful. So quality means be honest and truthful in your conversation, in your discourse, as an element of quality of a cooperative principle. The other one is relevant. Relation. Be relevant. Relation means be relevant. When I'm asking you where the library is, sorry, I wonder if you mind telling me where the library is. And you say, okay, I have to mull it over. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I haven't got the faintest idea about what your question might be. You know, I'm from Kazakhstan and I'm from Kazakhstan, and I have two siblings, and I'm a very intelligent girl. I'm really nice and beautiful. Look at me. Is that relevant information? Give only relevant information. Don't you be irrelevant. I think that is another condition of relevance. Don't be irrelevant. Don't beat around the bush. Don't distract. Just focus on the dialogue, on the question. The last element of cooperative principle is manner. Manner is also is being brief. I reckon it's being brief and be concise. Brief and concise is the idea of manner. Let me have a look at the idea in here. I think you got in your book the cooperative principles are page 174. You can see all the information on cooperative principles. Let me see if there are examples in here. I gave you my own examples. Now, let's see if we can. Yeah, I read you the text. The cooperative principle in the book, following the book. Cooperative principle definition. What is cooperative principle? Make your conversation contribution such as required at the stage at which it occurs by the accepted purpose or direction of the talk exchange in which you are engaged. That is the definition. I say it again. Make your conversation. It's page 174. Make your conversation. Cooperative principle means make your conversation contribution such as is required at the stage at which it occurs by the accepted purpose or direction of the talk exchange in which you are engaged. The quantity maxim, make your contribution as informative as required, but not more or less than is required. that is quantity. Make your contribution as informative as required, but not more or less than is required. What is quality maxim? Do not say that which you believe to be false or for which you lack adequate evidence. So avoid false statements, avoid expressing ideas or claims for which you lack the evidence. That is quality. I said be truthful and honest, and also be basically don't say something that is false or for which you lack the evidence. The relation maxim is be relevant. I already explained it. The manner maxim, be clear, brief, and orderly. So 3 components of manner. Be clear, brief, and orderly. Alright? Alright, the next, so these are cooperative principles, Grice's maxims. Another important element of successful communication or proper discourse is turn-taking. What do we mean by turn-taking? There are rules of turn-taking that you have to observe. So, give turns to the other speaker. Don't be talkative all the time. So, there are different expectations of conversational style and different strategies of participation in conversation, which may result in slightly different conversations of turn-taking. So by turn-taking, I mean that give the other listener or speaker turn. Some people do not let others speak. They do not give them any turn, any chance to speak. This is wrong discourse. This is wrong communication. This is not proper communication. When sometimes teachers do not give any turn to the students, only talk the whole 50 minutes and no feedback, no interaction, no communication is going on. This is not proper discourse. A proper discourse is a discourse of turn-taking. For example, in the normal expectation is that completion points are marked by the end of a sentence and a pause, and then one way to keep the turn is to avoid having those 2 markers occur together. For example, pausing. Pause. After you're talking to somebody, stop for a couple of seconds, meaning that it is your turn. You can speak now. So pause, hedges, sometimes it says you use some expressions or hesitation markers. For example, I say, today I'm going to talk about discourse analysis. And I say, to give you the term, I say, do you know what discourse analysis is? I'm giving you the opportunity to talk. I'm giving you the chance. I'm giving you the term. Sometimes I pause. Today I'm going to talk about discourse analysis. And I pause and I look at you. And then you say, oh, teacher, what is it? What is discourse analysis? This is your turn. And sometimes I use some exclamations or what is discourse analysis? It means that this is your turn. So pause, questions, feedback, interaction provide you with of turn-taking. So observe the rules of turn-taking in the conversation. In the meetings, sometimes people, some guys or some women, some ladies, they don't let others speak. That is not proper. Only one person and everybody is listening. For example, sometimes they say, I want to talk about 10 issues today, so that nobody can interrupt. This is wrong. Distribute the time and let everybody speak and provide their opinions. This is turn-taking. Different cultures have got different turn-taking procedures. It's very cultural. But however, the idea is provide and supplies everybody with chance to speak by hedges, by pause, by questions, by feedback, by interaction. I think it's clear, isn't it? So turn taking is another condition of proper communication, proper discourse, or felicity conditions. The next one is adjacency pairs. Can you see adjacency pair? Is it clear in here? Adjacency pairs. Adjacency pairs. It's on page 172. Adjacency pairs are basically the first part and second part of a dialogue. Adjacency means neighboring pairs. Neighboring. The pairs or the statements or the dialogues that are next to each other. They are like neighbors. For example, adjacency pair of greeting. I say hello. What is the adjacency answer? Hello is hello. What is the adjacency answer? What's your name? You say your name. This is question and answer. Question, answer. Adjacency pair. Agreement, agreement. Greeting, greeting. Exclamation, exclamation. These are basically adjacency pairs and must be observed. When I say, for example, what is the topic of today's discussion? You look at the book and say, discourse analysis. Question, answer. This is proper discourse. If I say, what is the topic of discussion today? And a lady in the class says, what is the capital of France? Asking a question by a question. Wrong. Adjacency pairs. Greeting, greeting. I say good morning. What is the adjacency pair?
Good morning.
Good morning. When I say good morning, and somebody on the street says,
Good night.
huh?
Good night.
Good night is wrong. I say greeting, good morning, and this guy or this lady answers, is pizza delicious? It is not adjacency. So good morning, good morning. Introduction, introduction. Adjacency, neighboring. All the culture is the same. When I say, my name is Alex, for instance, and then you say,
Nice to
what?
meet you.
Again, my name is Alex. What do you say? My name is Dennis. Introduction, introduction. Adjacency pairs. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
You too.
You could say nice to meet you. In Turkish they say memnun oldum, and you say memnun oldum. So these are adjacency pairs. They must match, and all cultures are the same. Question, answer. Greeting, greeting. Introduction, introduction. You say, this is what we mean by pairs, neighboring pairs. They must not be violated. For example, when someone says hi or hello, we usually respond with a similar greeting. This is type of almost automatic sequence. This is automatic sequence. So adjacency pairs are automatic sequences. Okay, automatic orders. Automatic sequence is called, so what is adjacency pair? They are automatic sequences of discourse. Automatic sequences of discourse that are observed in all cultures. Which consists of a first part and a second part. So what is the definition of adjacency pairs?
Automatic sequence.
Automatic sequences of
Discourse.
which consist of a first part and a second part. That is the definition. As found in the greeting, question, answer. Thank you. Thank you. We're welcome. Okay. Good morning, good morning. Where's Mary? She's at work already. Question and answer.
Yes.
Thanks for your help yesterday. Oh, you're welcome. Automatic sequence. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. See you later. See you later. When somebody says see you later, you cannot say, oh, is pizza delicious? It's irrelevant. When you say bye bye, sometimes people do not observe it. For example, I say see you later, and then the student said okay, teacher, what should I do now? Where should I go? What can I do? I'm very hungry. It's irrelevant. You say bye means bye. Greeting is greeting. You have to observe question, answer. Don't answer a question by a question. It's wrong. Question, answer. Alright? I think this is automatic sequence of discourse. Easier. That is a definition or another component of proper discourse. The next one, hedges. Hedges also very important in discourse. Hedges are basically important, especially when you are talking to somebody who has higher power, higher education, is older than you, is your teacher, university chancellor, somebody very significant. You use hedges. So hedge creates proper discourse. Hedge creates politeness. A proper discourse is a polite discourse. Impolite discourse is improper discourse. Is it true? Mm-hmm. So in order to be polite, you need to use some terms and expressions that create hedges. Hedge is, what are the conditions or what are the characteristics of hedges? I read in your book, it is on page 175. We can use certain type of expressions called hedges to show that we are concerned about following the maxims while being cooperative speakers. Hedges, what is the definition? Can be defined as words or phrases used to indicate that we are not really sure that what we are saying is sufficiently correct or complete. I use it, I want to explain it easier than the book, because the book may be confusing. So hedges are used by people of lower status, lower education, and younger, talking to people who are more significant, more important, more powerful, and older than themselves. To be polite. For example, I give you another question. What are characteristics of hedging? What are some examples and characteristics? One is use of indirect statement is good. If you use indirect statement, it's a hedge. So indirect statement. Somebody told me this morning, one of the students said, "Hey teacher, is your laptop working?" And she meant that, "Have you got a class today?" And she was politely, indirectly referring to my virtual meeting. Implicit, indirect statements are actually examples of hedging. Is pause. Pause is an example of hedging. When you're talking to your teacher, you use pause. You don't say very fluent and fast. You don't talk fast. You reduce the speed. It's a kind of hedge. For example, when you talk to your friend, you increase the speed of your talk, the fluency, because you don't mind if you make a mistake or whatever. It's not a problem. For example, you talk to your friend and say, "Hey mate, I gotta go to the city and watch a movie. Are you coming along? I love the idea. I gotta go. Come along." But when you talk, you want to say the same thing to the teacher. You say, "Sorry, I've got a suggestion." Say, "Oh, pause. I'm going to the movies today." Pause. "I was wondering if there would be a possibility of you joining us." This is hedge. Implicit, slow, pause, polite. So this is what we mean by hedge. So what are the characteristics of hedge? Hedge is slow. Write it down. Slow. Is indirect. Pause. There are pauses. Some statements like, "As far as I know," "correct me if I am wrong," "I'm not absolutely sure." So these are basically, "I'm not absolutely sure." Did you write it down? So one is, "As far as I know," correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not absolutely sure. All right? These statements are indication of pause and politeness. For example, the teacher asks something, and you say, as far as I know, it means I'm not really certain, I'm polite. As far as I'm concerned, as far as my little knowledge helps me, teacher, I think the philosophy goes like that. Or, I'm not absolutely certain, but, you say, but the same statement, you talk to a friend, you don't use these words, these statements. I say, okay, I know, I'm absolutely certain, trust me, different way of talking to. So when you're talking to the others, you have to consider their age, their ages, their level of education, their position, male and female also, important. The gentleman talking to ladies use hedges. For example, you want to ask a lady for a coffee. You talk to a friend as a guy, you grab the shoulder and say, hey, let's go have a coffee. It's cool, isn't it? Let's have fun. But then you want to talk to the same classmate, a lady. You wouldn't say, oh, come on, it's fun, let's have some fun. It's cool, isn't it? You wouldn't say so. You talk to the girl like, I'm going to have a coffee, and I was wondering if there would be a likelihood of joining me, and we will talk over a coffee. Thank you. See, this is hedge. Changing the statement, indirect, polite, that's a better idea. So the next is, what is next? Implicatures, yes? Implicatures are the same as, yes. Is it implicatures? I reckon so. Yes, implicatures. Implicatures are also components of proper discourse. Implicatures are creation of relations between utterances or statements, between statements, although they are not there in the text. Creation of what? Creation of
relations between statements, also they are not in text.
It is similar to coherence.
Yes.
You remember? In terms of semantics, it is called entailments. Entailments. So, there is an example that I always give. The example of, is Alex coming to the party? Mary is there. It's implicature. You can understand the meaning, although it is not there. You know that Alex is not going to the party. Here there's an example. Carol, are you coming to the party tonight? Lara is, I've got an exam tomorrow. No. This is implicature. Finding the meaning through the text. It is not there. It is like coherence. So, I say Alex and Mary. Alex says, are you coming to the party tonight? Talking to Mary. Mary says, I've got an exam tomorrow.
No.
Is she going to the party?
No.
You create the implicature. You create the relationship. So this is a part of proper discourse. If you say, okay, yes, you have an exam, let's go to the party, it's wrong. You have not figured out the meaning. It's negative, not positive. Although some guys might like to go to the party, attend the party and dance and sing, that's not proper. But basically when you say, I've got an exam tomorrow, it is the fact you decline, or Mary declines to attend the party because there is an exam tomorrow. So, what is implicature? The definition is an additional conveyed meaning. Write it down. Implicature is an additional conveyed meaning transmitted meaning. Conveyed means transmitted. An additional conveyed or transmitted meaning based on the context of the conversation. Additional conveyed meaning. Very easy. All right? That is called implicatures. What is it? The next one. A schema. Yes? Schema. What is a schema? For proper discourse, we also need a schema. Background information. The schema is background information in your brain that is activated when you're talking to somebody. You need the schema, otherwise you are not able to communicate. You are not able to embark on a proper meaningful communication. On page 177, a schema is a general term for conventional knowledge structure that exists in memory. That's it. Is a conventional answer. A schema is a conventional knowledge structure that exists in memory. All right? So, schema is the general picture you have of any topic, of any concept. If there is no schema, there is no communication. For example, I say classroom. What is in your brain? That is the schema in your brain. What is that? Desks? Chairs? Board? A room? Teacher? Students? That is your schema. I say cinema. Do you have the schema?
Yeah.
Yes? What is cinema? Popcorn? Seats? Crowd?
Marvel.
Yes?
Associations. Yes.
Yeah, this is what you have in the background, the picture that you have in your mind. Necessary. For example, I might say, I went to the cinema yesterday and I watched a beautiful movie, and after that I went home and visited my parents. Cinema. Now I say, for instance, yesterday I went to the Mars and I watched the aliens and I talked with the aliens and I had a conversation about the philosophical, chemical activities of the sodium dioxide. Is this a proper discourse? It's not, because you don't have the schema. You don't know what unless you have seen the movies or you have visited the Mars. You don't have the schema. You cannot create it. Or I say, yesterday I had hallucinations. You know hallucination? I was hypnotized and I saw some elements which are called Sulanta. And I talked to the Sulanta, and do you like Sulanta? Is it a proper discourse? No. You don't have the schema. What is Sulanta? There is no communication because you don't have a schema. You don't have the background information. For instance, I talk about mathematics here. I say there are important theories in mathematics. I want to talk about them. One is graph theory, one is complexity theory, and one is chaos theory. So, what is your idea about chaos theory in mathematics?
I have no schema.
You have no schema, but there is no communication. So, improper discourse. That's what we call background information and a schema and a schemata. A schemata is basically the plural form of a schema is schemata. So what is I think it's clear, isn't it? So schema is background information. I think we can recapitulate the discussion now. We can 5 minutes is all right in 5 minutes. Any questions? Any comments? You can come here and talk whatever. No worries.
No.
Any question? Would you like to be in the video? You can come here and show your face. Show up. Oh, no. Anyways, let's get back to the I give you a very succinct summary. Today I talked about discourse analysis and the definition of discourse. I said that discourse is any language beyond a sentence is a discourse. Discourse analysis is a scientific analysis of conversation, spoken and written discourse. And I also posed the question of what are the elements or necessary conditions of appropriate, proper communication, proper discourse. And I said that they are the same as felicity conditions. Felicity conditions are the necessary conditions of proper communication, of successful communication, of appropriate discourse. So what are these felicity conditions? The felicity conditions include cohesion and coherence, crisis maxims, cooperative principles. Cooperative principles encapsulate quantity, quality, relation or relevance and manner. Turn-taking, adjacency pairs, hedges, implicatures, schema, script. Script is also relevant to schema. For anything you have in your brain, there is a script. Very, very similar to a schema. Script is the mental image of any concept. It's very, very similar to schema, script. So you activate the relevant script when we talk about it. For instance, I say, watching a football match. Do you have the script? Yes. You have the stadium, you have the ball, you have the players, you have the referee. This is the script. Script is the mental image. It's the mental image that you have. We talked about hedges, adjacency pairs, implicatures, schema, scripts, background information. All of these are components of proper discourse, successful communication, written or spoken, and they are manifestations of felicity conditions. So, I talked about quantity, speak only enough, no more, not more, no less. Quality, be truthful, be honest in discourse. Relation, be relevant, don't beat around the bush, don't talk about irrelevant issues. Manner, be brief and clear, brief and clear. Turn-taking, observe the turn-taking rules, give the others the opportunity to talk. Don't talk incessantly, don't talk continuously, and give the others the chance to express their ideas. Talk about adjacency pairs. What are the adjacency pairs? Can you have the definition? Is automatic adjacency pair, automatic neighboring structures. Do you have it over there?
Automatic sequences of discussion.
Automatic sequence of
discourse.
Yes.
Automatic sequence of discourse. So what do we mean by adjacency? Means neighboring. So greeting, question, answer. What else? Exclamation. Goodbye. All right? You have to observe it. Hedges. I gave you the idea of hedges in terms of politeness. You use hedges when you're talking to somebody who is higher than you, above you, in terms of power, education, status, social status, educational status, or age. So hedges, what are the important elements of hedges? Hedge, implicit, indirect discourse, using pause, using
slowly, to speak slowly.
Slow language, reduce the speed of your talk, less fluency, and some structures like, as far as I know, to my little knowledge,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sorry? Correct me if I'm wrong. These are elements of hedges. Implicatures are the same, like similar to
conveyed, transmitted meaning
yes,
based on the context of conversation.
Yeah, basically it's like coherence, that we create relation among utterances or statements as a speaker or listeners. For example, when I say, is Alex coming to the party? A. B answers, Mary is there, we create this implicature, we create this connection in our brain. It is the same as entailment, it is similar to coherence, all right? As another element necessary for proper discourse. I talked about the schema. What is the schema?
Conventional knowledge structure that exists in memory.
Loud.
Conventional knowledge structure that exists in memory and general picture that you have in your brain.
Yes. So that is schema and script is similar, relevant, background information. Schema, script and background information are very much inextricably tied up with each other and they are very relevant. So for any concept you have a script, for any concept you've got the background information, you've got the schema, and you activate the relevant information while you're talking about something. And during the conversation, during the discourse, you must observe the fact that there is the relevant schema or background information or script in the mind of the listener, and use background information, a schema or script that is familiar to the listener. Don't say unfamiliar, alien, strange things or concepts. Otherwise, it's hopeless. I think we don't have anything else to talk about. And there are study questions. Please do as a homework, do the study questions. And your homework again is provision of a summary of my talk.
Mind map.
Sorry?
Mind map.
And the mind map, also a summary. Let's give a chance.
How many words?
Summary of 500 words for this. And you can also use a mind map, if you like. I give you a chance, summary or a mind map. All right? Is it clear? Can we close this discussion?
Yes, everything.
Okay, thank you for your attention and time. Please share it with your friends, share it with the colleagues, share it with the other classmates. And I will be back with the following topic. And I hope you have found it helpful and useful. And you can send me your feedback through my email. I would be delighted to answer you. And I would be honored to supply you with information. Look after yourselves and have a lovely evening.